So let's find out a little bit more about the player and speak to Dutch football expert Marcel Van Der Kraan. Marcel, so good to have you with us. Thanks for coming on the show. First of all, what do you know about this deal? Is he close to joining Manchester United?
Well, he's not close, but he's definitely on their target list, and I think he's a prime target. However, there is still a major transfer issue over Frenkie de Jong, and that could stand in the way of the speed with Gakpo coming to Man United, because I understand here at the Dutch end that Frenkie de Jong is still an absolute #1 priority for Erik Ten Hag and the club, and they're certainly not giving up no matter what Frenkie says in Barcelona. They have a deal with the agent of the player, and it just depends on what is happening in the political department of Barcelona over his wages, which they still owe him.
Marcel, for those of us that don't know too much about Cody Gakpo, tell us a little bit about him. And we know United were interested in Anthony as well at Ajax. So how do those two players compare?
Very similar. Cody Gakpo is a very tall player with speed. He's been voted National Dutch Player of the Year by all the former Dutch internationals who always vote for the player. Everybody in Eindhoven will be very sad to lose him, and he is the kind of guy who collects speed with a good left foot and good skills. And I've often referred to Thierry Henry and Robin van Persie, not maybe at the same value or quality yet, but they came into the Premier League as a left winger, converted into striker by Arsene Wenger, and really did well. And this boy is also being slowly converted into a striker because he's had some great individual coaching from former United legend Ruud van Nistelrooy, who's now his coach at PSV Eindhoven, and who was also his individual strikers coach at the Eindhoven Academy.
Marcel, Gakpo is clearly a player Erik Ten Hag knows. Will that make it easy for him to adapt to the league and fit in if he does join?
He is the kind of player Ten Hag likes, because Ten Hag likes to play with wingers. And I have said before that for every Dutch player who's never played in England, it takes time to adapt. And in that way, I'm a little bit concerned, because Gakpo is outstanding in all the Dutch big matches. He's been great in Europe. He's been great against Monaco last night in the Champions League. But yet playing every week in and out. There could also be a sidestep for certain players, like Gini Wijnaldum did. He first went to Newcastle United, then joined Liverpool. I do think with the ability he's got, he eventually will be the top man for a good club. And I could certainly see him featuring at Man United. But there are other clubs involved as well in the bidding or in the process of wanting him, because Arsenal have made a bid for him weeks ago. And I understand from the people close to him, and his brother looks after his business, that there are in total about 5 Premier League clubs who are after Gakpo. But clearly, if the choice is there, he will go to Man United.
Marcel, with the massive Champions League game coming up against Rangers, do you think that this transfer, if it were to happen, could take a decent amount of time? That has obviously been the frustration with other Man United transfers. But do you think with such a huge game that this might take a couple of weeks, or at least after that game?
On what you just said, PSV Eindhoven have made it very clear last night that there is no way they're going to sell this boy to any club in the world for any fee until they're certain of having qualified for the Champions League. They play this big playoff game with Rangers now, next week and the week after. And until then, I can see nothing happening, because he is absolute vital for them. And if they get a place in the Champions League group stage, that is worth 40 million to the club. And if once that has happened, there can be negotiations over a sale, and that could bring in another 40 million for the club.
I just want to ask you one on Erik Ten Hag, Marcel, because he's constantly linked to players that he knows. And I suppose on one hand, maybe that's a good thing, the fact that he knows these players and he's worked with them before. But on the other hand, he's been criticised about his lack of imagination. I think we've lost Marcel there, haven't we? Oh, no, we have still got him. Sorry, guys, we have still got him. I don't know if you heard me there, Marcel, where I was saying that on the other hand, he's kind of been criticised, really, about his lack of imagination. What's the feeling of that over in the Netherlands?
We've been following this right from the start, when he was, in the limelight of Man United, and when they were talking about his deal. And I think one of the things that they found is the people around him, Ten Hag, his assistant coaches who he's appointed, that they were slightly disappointed in the scouting setup and what was available in the network, around Man United for new players. If you have top players available, or you've made a scouting list and a reserve team, it would have been a lot easier for Ten Hag to say, okay, let's get this left back from Italy, and we've got a great player in South America. But what I understand is that there was not enough, certainly not enough quality on the picture, on the radar, and Ten Hag had to do a lot of work himself in the weeks which he had left after the Ajax season, and that was a very limited time. And what do you do as a coach when you don't have enough quality in a backup team and you don't have the time? You go back to the players who you know, and so far everybody thought he was going to raid Ajax for no end of players, but he's only taken Lisandro Martinez, and that is only because he failed to get a few other players. And I still think he will count on the arrival of Frenkie de Jong as one of his main reinforcements.
From your point of view, how likely do you see that deal at the moment? We've got a few weeks to go in the transfer window.
I think Fellaini once came on the last day of the season when David Moyes took over after Alex Ferguson, and I could see this going to deadline day, especially because of the PSV Eindhoven situation. And let's see where Frenkie de Jong's situation is as well on deadline day. That could really, really go to the line as well. And Frenkie de Jong is a very expensive operation for United, and it also depends how much money is left for, investing in more players, and how much money will PSV Eindhoven want, because in Holland prices have gone up massively since United are back on the market in players and with a Dutch coach. And if we see that Lisandro Martinez goes for 50 or 60 million, we think that's absolutely amazing for a player who came for 7 million. So what is PSV Eindhoven going to ask for a striker or a winger like Cody Gakpo?